Hey, what's good, everybody? It's Yo a Nerd, and I'm back with another interview, interviewing creators. And today I have Terrence and I have Darius of Unbound Comics. What's up, y'all?
What's going
How
on
you
now?
doing? How
Doing
you
good.
doing?
Please. Glad to have y'all on.
Glad to be
Glad to
here.
be here.
Cool, cool. So, first and foremost, just I would like you guys to introduce yourself and your comic book company.
All right.
All right.
I'll go ahead and tee it up. I'm Darius Jordan, co-founder of Unbound Comics. Terrence, I'll let you give your introduction before I get further into what the company is.
All right. I'm Tarrance Branch, co-founder of Unbound Comics.
All right. So Terrence and I, we went to school together, I think, since junior high. And Unbound Comics officially started last August. We picked the name out last July. But yeah, we are both two passionate comic book fans and both had an affinity for art growing up. And, after a few shared posts on Facebook and sharing our artwork with one another, we had a sidebar. I was like, hey, let's get something going. And lo and behold, we hashed out a few ideas over a span of probably 4 or 5 months, and we put some ideas together and put the pen to the paper, and we got out our first book earlier this year, and we're letting the story unfold as time goes.
And what is that first book?
Blitz issue
Um,
one.
yes.
Cool. Blitz issue one. Cool. So can you tell us a little bit more about Blitz issue one?
Yeah, let's see. He pretty much like well, I would like to say like your new type of hero with a little old school fashion and everything. Like how he just somebody just wanna help out, but he don't know how the world will accept him and everything. So he on this rise to become one of the world's best heroes in our universe and everything.
Hey, hey. So,
Right.
tell me, can you, what, in your opinion, like, give your version of what Blitz is?
Um, see my own opinion. So for me, Blitz is your, I don't want to say stereotypical, but he is one of those heroes who is born with a destiny that he does not know about. And when he least expected, his powers are basically thrust upon him and he's called to action. And when it happens, he does not know what to do about it, how to go about it, or if he should even bother. So he's a small town guy with a grand destiny thrown at him at a very early age.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that. So, I'm asking these questions as if I didn't read Blitz, which I did. But, so with Blitz, one of my questions I had for the comic, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, he doesn't know quite what to do with his powers. Because I remember there at one point in the comic, he was like, I'm a black man with powers. Like, what am I gonna really do? So, when you guys thought of that angle, like, what made you come up with that? What made you want to do a story about a superhero that kind of has these powers and wants to help, but he doesn't really know how to be a superhero, or if he even should be a superhero?
Well, I was looking at it like how the world is today and everything. Like people so picky about situations that going on in the world. Then like by him wanting to help people, probably be like he cool. Then like so he mess up or whatnot, they'll blame he feel like they'll blame everything on him and stuff. And besides he's black, so that's another problem that he probably have to worry about.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, anyone in a public facing space, they're going to be under scrutiny like day to day. I mean, once you're in that spotlight, people know what you have for breakfast almost. If you give them even like the slightest window to see what you got going on,
Right.
and while he's under that microscope, like I said, he doesn't know what he wants to do with his powers. He's still learning, and once you go public with it, you don't really give yourself that much runway to figure things out. Like you're in the thick of it from the jump, just because you can pretty much put yourself out there in public. So he's learning what to do in our universe. When Blitz comes onto the scene, heroism isn't really a thing. Not like in the superpowered aspect. So to the world, he's one of the first, or for many, he is the first, and so everyone, right or wrong, will look at him to be, for one, a beacon of what positivity should be.
Mhm.
And the moment he does something that does not actually um, depict positivity, not saying he does intentionally bad things, but the moment you mess up, it's like, oh, you're supposed to be a role model for the kids. You can't be out here doing this. What are you doing? Um, I mean, lo and
Right.
behold, this guy isn't near 30 yet. So I mean, he's still a kid himself in a lot of ways. So, but I mean, it's media. They don't care about all the ins and outs. They just care about what they see at that moment and what you can do for them at that moment.
All right.
Okay, so I see you put like a little realism into the comic.
All right.
Yeah. Um, I think particularly for our age group, and I think it's not necessarily that's something that's lost on younger kids either, but even though we're telling these big adventures with these grand stories, it's nice to have the grounded elements that people can still relate to, because even if they don't necessarily connect with a certain plot point or like a big spectacle in the story, there's still that personal element to it that can keep certain people locked in, even if they aren't, I guess, super connected to like the fictional world, but they still want to be a part of the journey. So try to cater to a couple different demographics with the stories.
Right, right.
Right.
A whole bunch of people.
Right.
Definitely. So, uh, I want to get into you guys as creators a little bit. So, how did you said you came together like you traded ideas, but individually, how did you guys come into comics and what gave you that push to kind of get started?
Well, for me, like, man, ever since I was a child, like my goddad, he put comic books in my face. Like my very first comic book was a Superman comic book, and I've been a Superman fanboy since day one. And then I started drawing and everything. So like I guess like a couple of years ago, it would seem like it was the right opportunity and everything. So I had reached out to my buddy Darius and ran some ideas by him, and like we and we had went from there. And like and we want to continue to go from there and everything, because like comic books, like to me, for comic books, you can get a lot of out of comic books and everything. Like for instance, you see Tony Stark's, he's a billionaire, and it can get another child hope in the real world. They're like, okay, one day I want to be a billionaire selling tech, or something. They can be a real thing. I don't know about the suits and everything, but like being a billionaire can be a real thing for a young boy or a young girl and everything. So yeah.
Okay. How about you, Darius?
For me, I said this previously to someone else. I was big on the Saturday morning cartoons, and
Right.
so
Okay.
one of my first entry points that I can remember is Spider-Man the animated series, and the the over from the aesthetic to the personality of Spider-Man, it hooked me in. From someone who, I mean, he has powers, but they're not like world-breaking powers. He's not uh let's see, he's not like ripping a hole in like the space-time continuum or nothing crazy like that. Like he's super strong, but he's not like, picking up trains and swinging them at people. He has powers, but they're still grounded in a way to where he can't always punch himself out of a situation. So a lot of the cool aspects of Spider-Man was the human side, where he had to process his emotions and make the right decisions under like super intense circumstances. And so from there, I was pretty much locked in. Now, at that time, I started with the cartoons first, so I didn't really understand the whole world of comic books behind it. But as I got older, And we're talking to my dad about all the superheroes I was seeing on TV. He was just kind of piecemealing to me like, hey, that all of these characters that you're seeing, they're based on like books. I was like, oh, okay. And then just over time, you just kind of keep getting that exposure. You go to a grocery store or Kroger or pharmacy or whatever. And if they have like the little reading material, sometimes they might slip a comic book in there. I remember seeing an X-Men issue when I was in elementary. I don't remember what issue it was, but I saw Havoc in there. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. And so, yeah, just early exposure and just try to uh, tailor my affinity to art towards that space. So
Okay. Okay. And it's something, it's really funny when you talk to creators, you kind of really start to understand the comics. So like talking to both of y'all just now, like Terrence, you said like one of your favorite superheroes was Superman, and Darius, you said like that you like Spider-Man animated series, and I can literally see like that in y'all comic, like I can literally see that in Blitz. So like this question kind of just formed as y'all were talking. Do y'all think that those things really inspired you, and then also inspired your writing going into the comic? Because I can really see like the mix of like the not so much like the powers and stuff, but like the elements of Superman and Spider-Man both in your comic. So do you think that kind of those influences drove y'all?
Oh, for sure, and yeah, like, cause like I said, like with Spider Man, he go like for the human side of him, like he go through these real life situations that a normal person will, and like for Superman, it's Clark. He goes through this situation trying to just fit in to be a human and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of inspiration goes into Blitz for them too.
most definitely. The people side to me is as great as the actual powers can be, and how um just like groundbreaking some of the feats can be as you get deeper into their stories. The people aspect is what keeps me around, man. Like I love the drama that goes on between the fights, like all like your races against time, trying to keep stuff hidden from people to try to keep them out of harm's way.
Right.
Like they're like particularly with Spider-Man, yeah, you talked about the personal aspect of him. That man has a hard life, but even though his life is hard, he keeps going. And that's just something you got to respect both as a storyteller and then just as a regular person, somebody that, against all odds continues to like press on and persevere and not budge on like their morals and their goals. I respect that. And I do try to adopt that to some extent in my own writing. I want to make sure that these still feel like real people, even though they have these kind of otherworldly abilities.
All right.
Okay. Like these answers. I like these answers. So we're gonna get into some deep stuff real quick, okay?
All
All
right, then let's go.
This is my favorite questions to ask you because it's always different, especially from creator to creator. So I want to hear some of your highs and your lows of being a comic book creator, whether it's being a black comic book creator or just being a comic book creator in general. I want to like hear some of your highs and lows if you're comfortable, sharing some of your lows.
Oh man. So man, when I got into like writing and trying to do this comic book, like I was seeing a lot of people on Instagram and TikTok, like you for instance, or Unbound Comics, and I'm like y'all was making it look easy and everything, but like as we started doing it and everything, like it was going good. Then it kind of got harder and harder. Cause like we everyday people, we go to work and everything. So our money, we putting our real deal money into this comic book and everything. So it ain't like that. We just got bucket loads of money, to make the comic book. So yeah, it been tough on their part and everything. And like for the highest part is that like actually like once finally got finished and everything and seeing a lot of people reaction and stuff. Like they right there, like it brought tears to my eyes the first time. And I was like, damn, man. I can't believe I made an impact on some people and everything. So this one thing that's keep on inspiring me to keep on going.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely sharing your work with whatever community you're a part of or whatever community you're trying to enter. That's definitely like the high point. I know when we had the launch, seeing the different members, both people that we knew and people that we didn't know, come by the comic book shop that the team had set up at, seeing the community post, seeing all the love that they were giving us, and then um, as far as the lows, um, man, like I know it comes with the territory, so it's nothing to really complain about. But like Tarrance mentioned, it is a challenge balancing your dream with the responsibilities that are probably helping you fund your dream. So there are a lot of times where you'll have to find that extra ounce of motivation to get through, whether it's pushing a design over the finish line to make sure you can get a post out at a certain amount of time, or um, trying to figure out what the missing touch on the script is. You put all the big events down, but you want to make sure that it's cohesive and it sounds good and it reads good. So there are some things that are just inherently challenging about the experience overall. But like I said, it comes with the territory, so you got to be ready to face it head on.
Exactly.
Awesome.
What are some of the things that you didn't know was gonna be a big challenge when you first started making comics?
Um, man, I didn't know. The printing thing, for me, like I was doing like a lot of research and everything. I'm like, dang, like so if we come up with this comic, like how would we get it printed? Like, should I go to my local comic book? I mean, should I go to my local printer shop here? Then they tell me they can't do it and everything. So I was doing a lot of research and stuff like that. So I say that right there was the biggest one for me.
Um, for me, and it's something that we still kind of actively kind of face day to day. We like when it comes to actually like making just one issue, like the story for it. We'll put together these outlines. It's like, okay, yeah, this is the right sequence of events for this book, and then you start trying to map it out panel by panel. It's like, yo, we can't fit all this in one issue. We wrote too much. So finding that sweet spot, because like at first, before we just really tried to be more strategic about how we put it together, it was just like an outline of like a sequence of events, and it may come out to like a 8-page Word document. And by the time we get to page maybe four and a half of doing like the panel mapping, we're like 18 pages into an issue. It's like, okay, we gotta dial it back a bit, or we gotta change how we think about it when we're writing it out. So
Right.
that was the eye opener for me. um but it's been a fun challenge to try to overcome that though. So, and
Right.
I'm glad that we have more ideas than not, so
Right.
can't hurt.
So those times when you guys are like bouncing ideas off each other, and then like you say like, "Hey, we gotta cut some things." What are the driving points to say, "Okay, this is something we definitely want to cut, and this is something we definitely want to keep"? Like, what are some of the things that make you say, "Okay, yeah, let's go with that"?
Really, I guess like it's what makes sense in the moment and everything. Like we'll be having so much good stuff down on paper and everything. Then like Darius, he'll probably say like probably should it probably be good for book two and everything. Or so yeah, like we'll know that what makes sense when we once we about to put it together and everything.
Yeah, I'd say it feels instinctual when we talk about it just between us. But I would say some of like the key things that we kind of look for. So we know issue by issue kind of what we want the high point to be,
Mm.
And when we get close to that point of, okay, it looks like something has to be cut, what can be removed or revisited later that won't compromise the integrity of the book we're about to put out? So, um, like if we want to have like a cliffhanger at the end of a book or something like that, that's usually like a good indicator of, okay, something else can move. But it's probably more challenging when you don't know or you didn't foresee having a cliffhanger at a certain point, but to tell the story the way you want to, you've kind of like ran out of space. And so then you kind of have to get creative to like, okay, we can keep this and maybe we can find a way to incorporate this other part in the next issue. And maybe even if we give ourselves more space in the next issue, we may actually be able to drive the point home a little bit harder. So
Yeah.
sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's more like pulling teeth, trying to figure out how you want to go about it. But just uh, as they say in the NBA, trust the process. So just believe in the work you do, and it'll work out.
Right, right, right. So also, this is you guys are the first pair like team I've done for the interview. Like it's mostly just one on one. So you guys as a team, like how does that dynamic work? Like how do you guys make it work? What is your thing?
Man, um, honestly, we just we give each other like space to give our thoughts out. Like we compromise with each other and everything. Some don't sound too right. One of us giving our opinion about it and everything, and it works out.
Yeah, I think at first it kind of starts with mutual respect between everybody that's there. So it started out with Terrance and I, but anybody that we bring in, for one, we know what we're bringing them in for, and two, we wouldn't be reaching out to you if we didn't think you had a high character anyway. So starting from that, it's easier to have these kind of, I don't want to say heart to heart because that sounds so dramatic, but um, when you know you have to speak up on something or you feel like you should challenge a thought or an idea, and it never comes from a place of malice. So I think that's the kind of the key point there. We all are striving to get to the same vision, and even though we all kind of have our own kind of unique uh, creative uh, creative outlooks, um, we offer each other a safe space to put those ideas out, and we don't try to belittle anyone's idea. But as far as like mechanically how we do that stuff, man, Facebook Messenger, like we said in the before the session started, we use Microsoft Teams, so we try to meet most Sundays for like an hour, hour and a half. We don't force a meeting just to have a meeting, but we huddle up for that time specifically to either plan like an upcoming event or just have like a big team brainstorming session. You know, hey, I got some characters that I want to run by y'all. I want to tell y'all in real time and get your feedback. So we try to just be transparent as possible and always maintain respect. So it works out more often than not.
Okay. That's dope. That's dope. And so also with the you guys mentioned for like the panels, like going over panels and everything. So do you guys write like each bit like together? Or like does one write a little bit and the other kind of like give their point of view on it and you kind of go from there? Or are y'all really just writing bit by bit together?
Well, actually, like how it started off, like once we finally got the characters together and everything, and we ran through the ideas to each other, like I started off with most of the writing and everything. Then like Darius, he'll give me his feedback and he'll start editing the work and everything. And then like he'll add parts that probably need to be added, or he'll take out parts that probably need to be taken out. So,
Yeah,
and we do a good job right there.
it's easier to manage now because we've only had one character that we're focusing on. But I think one thing we do try to empower the different people on the team. Uh, everyone kind of has their own like set of characters that they have an affinity to. So each person is allowed to kind of take the lead on writing something. And it doesn't mean they have to do everything themselves, but if they have the idea, whether it hits them, like during the call or like late at night or whatever, um, you are fully empowered to, get it started on the script. And then we don't try to hijack each other's work. It's more so a refinement and just peer review from that point. Um, so yeah, Tarrance, he's taking the lead on Blitz. We have some other characters that are currently in development too, but of course Blitz is our poster boy, so we're giving him all the space and love that he needs first before we start branching out. But yeah, we have everyone is kind of champions of their own space in some regard. Tarrance has his set. I have my set. Our other teammate Derek, who isn't on this call, he has his set too. So we have a pretty nice open space for everyone to create and contribute and then refine as needed.
All right.
Okay, so what we talking? We talking about a Unbound universe? Like, what's going on?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we taking the slow burn approach, both from a resource standpoint and a financial standpoint. We can't just jump off the porch with 50 characters, but we have the creative potential and reserves to put out that much, but due to some other real world constraints, we gotta be more strategic about it.
Okay,
All right.
I like what I'm hearing. Though. I like what I'm hearing. So it sounds like y'all got a whole team working on this.
Yeah, Darius mentioned, we got just our other partner, DJ Derek Dent, and he come up with like a lot of characters and everything, and we just filling the roster up. Fire characters at that. So yeah.
So where you're planning on expanding in the future, like a whole universe, like everything connected, or do you plan on just having comics that are like standalone, or what do you plan on doing?
Ah man, actually it's gonna be a one big universe. One big universe. Because like when you think about S word characters kind of get confusing to people, so we just trying to keep it in one big universe.
Yeah. How about you, Darius? How you feel about that?
Oh, that's been my idea from the jump. We started off with Blitz, and we started building kind of like what his destiny is. And then it just became more and more expansive. Like, okay, if we introduce another hero, how can they tie into this? But not trying to like shoehorn them into the story. Like I said, there are a lot of different segments, or will be a lot of different segments in the universe as far as like your sources of power and kind of like what you represent in the story. And so there's going to be an undercurrent, or at least multiple undercurrents that kind of connect different factions and sets of groups in the story. But yeah, we definitely we have the vision for a pretty expansive universe, mostly because we know as an audience there are going to be a lot of different people that are into comic books, and so we don't want to push out just one or two kind of character modes or models for people to look up to. We want to give everybody at least the opportunity to find something that they can connect individually, rather than trying to just make everyone kind of pick a side more or less.
All right.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So, this is my own little question, just for me as a person after I read your comic. You don't have to spoil it too much, but what's up with the villain?
Which
Okay,
one?
what's up with the villain?
um, I mean, it depends on, like I said, which one you're talking about, because we don't want to get into the spoiler territory. But one thing that we kind of take pride in is making sure that the stories, like, we don't want to drag them out, but we also want to leave the reader wanting more. So if it doesn't make sense to write somebody off at a particular point, we won't. But if we do, there's intent behind it. So we are very thoughtful about each of these little events that we're piecing together. So I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Okay, cool. Cool. I like it. I like it. I like it. So these interviews are I kind of told you guys before, these interviews are kind of aimed to like for creators coming up, like to look at it and kind of see other creators that are in the game and kind of, help them or give them some answers to maybe questions that, they may want to ask or don't know who to ask or don't have anybody to ask. You feel me? Because as comic book creators, we don't always have a whole bunch of people around us that also make comics. You feel me? So
Right.
Right, right, sure, right.
interviews are aimed to really help creators and also give a in-depth look at creators. So my last question that I have is really just if you could give either yourself starting out or another creator that's just starting out advice from your own experience and things that you've been through, what would it be?
For me, like I would tell the person, take their time, map their ideas out. Once they got their ideas mapped out, um, put it to work and everything. Like don't try to rush yourself because when you rush yourself, you make a lot of mistakes and everything. And and once mistakes made, it's hard to fix them. So just take your time and make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's.
For myself, and I'm gonna put out a caveat at the beginning. I'm gonna assume that if you're in this space, um, I'm not going to question your level of creativity. So I'm going to assume that if you even want to get into this space to begin with, uh, you either have a wealth of creativity or you have the potential to continuously expand it. So what I'm going to say, take the time to read up on certain things. My problem before I met Tarrance, I could spit out characters and sketch stuff all day, but I did not take the time to really research like the ins and outs on what you need to do to get from point A to point B after you create the characters. And I was able to lean on Tarrance quite a bit. And there was just before we actually got to the actual printing of Blitz, there was just this ongoing learning and teaching from one another. He finds something, he throws it over to me. I find something, I throw it over to him. So we're just learning and feeding off of each other. And in addition to that, um, I know you've made the point that usually when you want to get into comic book creation, you don't have too many role models in your immediate vicinity to like lean on. Um, I know when it comes to like intellectual property and stuff, people are very hesitant to open up to others because they don't want their ideas stolen. I still have my own internal struggles with that too, as far as like telling people things outside of our immediate group. But don't be afraid to collaborate. Um, Comic books, like any other business, there are expenses that go into it, and if you can find one or two like-minded individuals that have the vision that you have or a similar vision that you can compromise and get to that same goal together, don't be afraid to pursue that. Uh, you don't have to do a comic book on your own. You can, but you don't have to. So if you can find a partner that you trust and have a decent rapport with, I definitely look into it. These things are much
Most
easier to do when you're not alone.
Yeah, most definitely.
100%, 100%. Those is good answers. I'm telling you, yo, these interviews with creators, I'm getting good answers from that question. Like all of them are just great. But once again, I'd like to thank y'all for coming on to these interviews and being a part of this. I really wanted to do something for, not just so creators can come on and talk about, what they do, and also so creators can, see what we do. So, like you said, like do some research into comic book creating. Like this could be part of that research that creators do. And I really want to thank y'all for coming on and being a part of this.
Most definitely. We sure appreciate you for having us, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Any way we can help out and uh, help another budding business, we're open to collaborate.
Oh yeah.
When one eats, everybody eats. So
Right.
Love that saying. But thank y'all for coming on. This has been another episode of Your Nerd with Creators. Thank y'all for watching.